They struggle, they suffer, they die, all for a joke. But they are blind to the punchline. We see the joke, so we let them fight. We let them struggle. We prolong the joke. Years passed, and we laughed. Decades passed, and we laughed. Centuries have passed now. We're not laughing anymore. In solitude, in frenzied battle, there is no firmer foundation than this simple truth. Blood is the life. We are the rightful rulers of Nosgoth, the vampire clans created by our divine Lord Kain. Each clan created one by one to serve as its legions in subjugating the human race. Turalim, Dumahim, Rahabim, Zephonim, Milkahim, and of course, Razilim. To resist us is to resist the natural order. Humanity. Food is all you are. It is all you were ever meant to be.
You filthy, stinking vampire! I'll carve the heart from your broken corpse!
I doubt that, bloodsack.
Fall back! Fall back! You fucking coward! I'm not leaving until I've spilt enough of their unholy blood to...
It's always wiser to run.
Retreat! 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 What about the wounded?
Leave them.
But...
They'll slow us down. Leave them.
Valehold, the birthplace of the mighty Iron Guard, would-be successors to the ancient Seraphon Order. Here they're loafing, their grief and malice festered like an infected wound. This was a place of grim death for my kind, a haven of fear and bitter hatred, which had endured since the time of Varador. No longer!
Iskandar, the humans are in retreat. They have abandoned their wounded and fled. Our brothers pursue them by air. Valeholm is ours.
Keep them running for a while. Pick off their leftovers, and then burn this place to the ground.
Would Lord Dumar not want this settlement intact?
I don't need to be second-guessed by my clansmen. Just follow my orders.
As you wish.
Once my clan was the mightiest, the proudest, the highest of all vampires. We were favored by divine Kain himself. Now, we are simply dogs for the war machine of Clan Dumahim and its ambitious Lord Duma. Centuries ago, I and those of my generation were buried and locked away by our elders to ensure we would survive to continue the bloodline of Raziel. That clan Razielim might endure when our patriarch was executed for treason. Raziel had been Kain's right hand, his second in command, yet he had committed the ultimate blasphemy by daring to evolve before our tainted god. Now, we fight in the war against humanity in order to regain some lost honor.
Iskandar, the battle is over. Come down from that perch before a human tries a parting shot at you.
He wouldn't live long to gloat about it if he did.
I don't want to have to explain to Lord Duma how you got yourself killed just after pushing the humans back to the walls of Meridian.
I doubt your patriarch cares whether I live or die, Boaz.
I do, though. So humor me, Iskandar.
Boaz, Reaver of Clan Dumahim. He is many things. My comrade, my bodyguard. He might almost be called a friend. What he was, inescapably, however, was the holder of my leash.
There is no defensive position between here and Freeport. They will not make it that far.
Clan Turlim's assault on the port succeeded?
I have heard nothing yet, but I doubt they will have much trouble. Those tyrants will not suffer defeat lightly.
So whatever humans survive will fall back to either the old citadel in the west or the walls of Meridian itself on the coast.
We ought to have destroyed their capital when the Empire first took it. Leaving it intact simply gave the vermin hope.
Are you second-guessing the military wisdom of Kain himself, Boaz?
You won't catch me blaspheming that easily.
So, what now?
I haven't had word from my lord yet. I anticipate we'll be told to position ourselves for the final assault on Meridian, but I will consult with my lord on the details.
My kin need time and blood to replenish ourselves.
I think you have plenty of that.
I am not suited to be the leader of my kin. I am no different than any of those who fly with me. The simple reason I command is because I had the misfortune of falling at the feet of Duma as we fled our well-intentioned underground prison. Since then, I have done what I can to fulfill the unwarranted and unwanted role. Honestly, I fear it is a miracle that either my clan or myself is still here. Perhaps once the humans were driven into a corner, or better still, domesticated once more, my clan might find some other more suitable leader to command them than myself.
You seem to have taken some casualties.
We always do.
Usually you fret about it.
I'm numb to it by now. As long as I can keep some of my clan alive, I will have to make do.
There are too few of your clan left to take that attitude.
The humans are on the brink. We'll endure.
I think you've just been on the battlefield too long.
I would agree with that diagnosis. His evaluation of my state of mind was quickly cut short when we noticed two of our clansmen.
And just what do you have there, Flyer? Got something fancy?
You dare?
I dare, scum! Now hand it over before I spill whatever blood you supped on today.
How often does that happen?
Now and then.
The troops ought to be more grateful.
We're used to it.
It's unfair.
We bear the brunt of Raziel's dishonor. It's to be expected.
You ought to have cleared that debt by now, with how many battles you've seen.
Honor doesn't work that way.
Maybe it ought.
I appreciate the sentiment, Boaz, but my clan simply has to endure
Look out!
Seems my cleansing of Valeholm had missed a defender or two. A vanguard, one of those axe-throwing drowned men of the Isle of the Dead. His shield was rent, his wounds deep, and he had thrown his last remaining axe. Boaz had no trouble with him.
You really ought to be more observant, Iskandar.
The day a half-dead human kills me is the day I follow my patriarch into the abyss.
Not just him. You're letting yourself be distracted from what ought to be your concern. I will return with our orders soon. I would let your clansmen rest and recuperate if I were you.
I would have ignored his words, but that ambush had left me feeling somewhat shaken. My ears were open.
My wings are sore. I haven't had enough blood. There isn't any left. The Reavers took the lion's share of it. Don't they always? I do not think I can fly right now.
If you can't fly, you're useless.
We ought to just leave you. I'm just tired. I need to rest. You'll get up and fight. It's all we're here for. All we do. If you can't fight, you're dead weight.
More observant? Boaz was right. I'd been lost with my head in the clouds, convinced I wasn't fit for the duty I had to perform, and I hadn't observed what was happening to my kin. They were lost. They needed more than just rest and blood. They needed something else, something new. The chance to build before they forget all but how to destroy.
Lord Dumas, Iskandar of the Flying Razielim seeks an audience.
What is he doing here? He and his winged beasts ought to be busy. Show him in.
Lord Duma, I bow before my patron, and I had not seen Duma in many centuries, not since the beginning of the war with the uprising surge of humanity. In time, all vampires evolved, becoming less and less human and more powerful. I anticipated some differences, of course, but I was not prepared for the drastic change in him. He was a giant, larger than any tyrant, and clad in the thickest armor to ever leave the Dumahim forges.
Speak, Iskandar. You are wasting my time.
Lord Duma?
Is your tongue missing? Speak!
My apologies, my lord. I was merely taken aback.
You try my patience, Iskandar. As you can see, I have far more pressing concerns than you. Speak now, or never again.
My lord, I come before you on behalf of my clan. The war has left us bereft of soul and identity, without any real hope of a proud future.
You grow strong on human blood. Most of you have regained the beauty your clan was once known for. Is that not enough?
I am afraid not, my lord. For my kin, battle is all we have known since we first awoke. It is all we know how to do, to fight. We need a chance to learn how to do more before we become simple, crude weapons. So I am here to ask for your permission, your permit, to allow the Razielim to command their own forces, rebuild our clan territory, and...
Out of the question!
My lord?
Have you forgotten the debt your kind owes me? You were all starved of blood and sapped of life, degenerated into hideous creatures barely worthy of the name vampire. Were it not for me, you would have all perished that day. Now you wish to leave my service?
No, of course not, Lord Duma. We are loyal and grateful to you. I merely...
You forget your place, Iskandar. Raziel's treason lingers on you and all his offspring. You exist at the sufferance of the other, proper clans only, ready to be swallowed up or destroyed whenever we see fit. You would do well to remember that the next time you feel I am not granting you enough liberty. Now be gone! Take your proper place on the battlefield and trouble me no longer.
But...
Lord Dumas has spoken. Your audience is over.
Good. Now, back to more important matters.
As I left the throne room, my bafflement was palpable. Lord Duma was evolving, developing powers and physical alterations unique to his clan. My kin had evolved wings, while he seemed to be developing great strength and an impenetrable hide. Raziel, my patriarch, had been executed for daring to evolve before Lord Kain, and yet here was Duma committing the same crime without a second thought. The hypocrisy left me speechless.
Iskandar, what do you think you are doing coming here with such an asinine request? You must have known it would be refused.
I knew no such thing, Boaz. I had thought preserving the well-being of all his forces, even adopted ones, would have been in Lord Duma's best interests. Apparently, I was mistaken.
Are you questioning the integrity of my patriarch, Iskandar?
No, of course not. But he would not even consider what I had to say.
Why would he? You basically asked permission to leave his influence, right when he needs you the most.
Needs us the most? The humans are all but defeated. He doesn't need me and mine to help overrun one city. Or is there something happening that I've not been told about?
I told you that you would have to pay attention to things that concern you. This is not one of them. Have faith, my friend. Lord Duma will not forsake those loyal to him.
Once words such as those would have placated me. Once they would have silenced the worries and doubts that come with command. Not anymore. And so, I re-entered this palace, not openly, but in secret. The Dumahim Reavers are indeed great hunters, but arrogant and prideful. Here in their city, they thought themselves above attack or even infiltration. It did not take much to evade their senses and creep back to Duma's private chambers. I did not enter. I did not want to test my own skill at stealth against a patriarch. So instead, I just listened.
The Tyrellan's attack on Freeport was a success as predicted. Not a single human being survived the onslaught. The tyrants are pressing on and ought to be outside the walls of Meridian itself in 2 days.
The Melkahim will join them from the north along with the fifth phalanx of our own warriors.
That is enough to lay siege to Meridian, but not enough to take the city. What of the Zephanim deceivers?
My brother and his brood sulk in the darkness like the insects they are. We will receive no more help from them. Send Iskandar and his flying rats to assist them. That ought to be enough to tip the balance.
The losses would be devastating.
Indeed, especially for the Tyrellim. No doubt lead the charge. Are our own forces prepared?
Yes, Lord Duma. As soon as the attack on Meridian begins, they will start the assault on the Crucible. With most of their greatest forces away, the Tyrellim will not be able to withstand us.
Tyrell doesn't deserve to sit upon Kain's throne. When we take the Crucible, he is mine. No one is to touch him but me.
I had my answer now. Duma would happily throw my clan to the slaughter in order to challenge Tyrell for domination of Nosgoth and the Empire. From the very beginning, he had used us, sold us the story of Raziel's so-called betrayal, and was preparing to use us as cannon fodder. Now that I thought about it, the signs of the manipulation had always been there, but I had been too preoccupied with my doubts to really notice. I had striven to prove my loyalty to a lord who would happily feed what remained of his vaunted brother's bloodline into the fires of war. There was only one question I had to ask myself. What was I going to do about it? Meridian, the great city and so-called capital of Nosgoth. It had stood on the southern coast, battered by the sea and the wind for centuries, and had been a fortress for mankind throughout the eons. Here was the one place where they might be safe. They might be protected, where the vampires would not come. That belief, like many others, was an unfounded one. Here their vanguard, their hunters, scouts, alchemists, and prophets had retreated. It was here they made their last stand. It was here that humanity would either rise or fall.
Unhand me, leech! Damn you! You think killing me will demoralize us?
Your kind have been pushed back to the very walls of your vaunted capital. You are on the verge of defeat and resubjugation. I doubt the loss of one soldier makes much difference to them.
If I am so insignificant, why have you chosen me to be brought up here?
Necessity.
Necessity? If you're going to kill me, then just try it. I won't die without taking one of you leeches with me.
Human! I could kill you before you even had time to raise your hand. That's not why you're here.
I have a name, vampire.
Enlighten me.
My name is Lise. I don't suppose I could have yours.
I am Escandor, leader of my kin. One word from me, and your body would be dashed to the rocks below by over a dozen of my clansmen. So I would watch your tone.
Well, what do you want me for, if I'm not intended to be food?
The only reason you still live is because I need a messenger to convey an offer back to the rest of your kind.
Cooperate with a leech? Never!
I'm not proposing an alliance, you fool! I'm only presenting you with an opportunity. One that won't come about again. One I don't think your kind are in a position to pass up. I can help you cut the head off the Dumahim snake. Betraying my own race, selling another clan out to the humans who would gladly butcher every single one of us if circumstances were reversed. It was detestable, loathsome, sickening. But Kain, forgive me. I did not see any other way for my clan to survive.